Hello and welcome back to the show. So I'm really excited to be joined here by my guest today, Rayne Chua, because she is actually one of the top real estate agents and team leaders in one of the hottest real estate markets in the world, based in Singapore. And she is not only an expert when it comes to working directly with developers and new construction properties, but she's also leading a team herself of over 100 agents in Singapore. So in today's episode, she's going to be able to dig into what makes her successful, what's helping her become successful in her own sales business, but also what it takes to become a great team leader in leading 100 independent contractor agents as well. So, Rayne, welcome to the show. I'm super excited to have you join us here today.
Thank you, Thank you, Kobe. Hi, everyone. My name is Rain. Really very excited to be speaking to Kobe today on my journey, right, as well as sharing some insights of how potentially we can do well in real estate, as well as how real estate could really work in Singapore for any of you who might be keen.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's no better person to talk about it than yourself, definitely. So, Rain, before we get started and kind of dig into, some of the best strategies and advice that you have for other agents and some insights you can share on Singapore property, would you mind just sharing a little bit about yourself, your background, just so that way our audience knows a little bit more about who you are and who they're listening to?
Yeah, so I used to be, sorry, I used to be an educator for around 16 years, right, in the Ministry of Education. So it's really quite an interesting switch for me. So far, I've been in the real estate for a decade now. And from there, I have slowly built my team to 100. Um, I also used to be an ex-national athlete, right? So before I studied education, I was, representing Singapore in the sport basketball. Yeah, right.
Wow.
So that was a little bit about myself, my before I really become a real estate agent. Right. So I think my educational background as well as my athlete background have really shaped who I am today and how I really run my business and coach my people.
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? Because we're seeing a lot of real estate agents here in the US as well who come from an educator's background. They were teachers and educators before they jumped into real estate, and a few athletes, just like yourself as well. And they say the same thing, which is their background in education and being able to coach others and being able to help others have actually helped them become a more successful real estate agent as well. So you would say the same thing, right? How, that was actually some part of, helping you become somebody who can better guide your clients when you first started in real estate.
Yeah, so I feel that the athlete background really helped me in terms of my mindset about being disciplined and of course the training and being resilient in the things that we do because real estate is a very dynamic career, right? Lots of ups and downs. We're impacted by policies, we're impacted by global things that are happening, just like the war that's ongoing now, right? Um, and this really helped me have a very strong mindset in conducting my career, right, and my work. Of course, I feel that the educational background definitely helped to give me the structure, the thinking of the frameworks and the systems that I put in place in order for me to run my business well. And because of that, I use what worked for me to coach my people, and hopefully they can also walk in the same footsteps and achieve success in real estate. And business, definitely, I feel sales and team building to me is an integration. I still do a lot of sales now. And so I try to use my sales experience that I have gathered across all my cases to actually use it as teaching case studies for my people. And I think that it's a lot more relevance for them to learn rather than theories. As every client that we meet has a different background, has a different profile, has different aspirations on how real estate could possibly be looking like in their portfolio. So it is really a lot of work that we're doing with our clients' portfolio and value adding to what they hope to achieve using real estate. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're definitely going to dig a little bit deeper into that as well and how you're able to coach your agents while still being active in sales as well. But just, as we kind of backtrack a little bit, I'd love for you to maybe share a little bit more about, how did you able to get started, right? There's one of the biggest questions I think a lot of agents have, whether they're new or even if they're in the middle of their career and they're struggling a little bit, is, how did the successful agents start their business? So what was that first, 1 to 2 years like? Look like for you when you were first jumping into real estate, finding clients yourself, and really going out there and, running your own sales business?
I think the landscape on the whole have really evolved a lot. I'm quite sure, Kobe, you will resonate this with me. The way we prospect our clients, the way we look for clients, the way that consumer search for potential agents who work with have evolved so much. I would say that whatever that we used to do, I wouldn't say that's not relevant now, but I think there's a major shift, right? From what we used to do in prospecting clients 10 years back, and now is I would say that it's completely different. And of course, as I started off as a rookie, I did all the traditional stuff like mailers. We did like door knocking, we did road shows, we did telemarketing. I think any prospecting method that was under the sun, I think I've tried it, right? Um, and there was a lot of so-called like self trying methods, right? And I feel that um, although all these methods seems like everyone else is doing it, but I feel that something that made me different was I tried to think out of the box of how I could do things differently other than the very usual methods that I've just mentioned. I thought of really out of the box ideas like um, I was just sharing with some aspiring agents that day that I printed like 100,000 like paper cups with my contact details on it, and I actually distributed it free to like major food courts that were had high human traffic flow, right? Um, and hopefully to get some contacts, right? Instead of like the mailers or flyers that you give out, usually sometimes when they receive it and then the next moment they just throw it away, right? So I think of how this instead of flyers, how could I make the potential client like look at the collateral a little bit longer while they're eating, they're staring at my face with that cup, with that drink, right? Uh, and I also like printed tissue papers and then I distributed it during the roadshow so that they don't just receive a normal flyer and then just chuck it away like seconds after. So I feel that even in our job, all these traditional methods, there are also creative ways or better ways to do it more effectively or make the whole entire method a little bit more refreshing, right? So I tried a lot of different things and and I think that made me different from other people, right? Because I didn't want to print flyers, right? Because I felt that, as a consumer, I would have just take it out and then just throw it, right? So yeah, so that was my beginning days, when we really, I wouldn't say struggle, but we really spent a lot of time doing trial and error on which one works. And I felt that some of these methods that beginning agents use simply is because maybe at that point of time, the budgeting for advertising or marketing is not as much at the start of the career. And so we're doing all these traditional methods to actually prospect clients. When, of course, once you have a little bit of more financial budget, right, then a lot more could be done, right? When we actually move into what we see now in today's real estate scene, right? We are, I would say, real estate agents. Sometimes we are 24/7 on social media now, right? That's when we evolve to to branding will evolve to how creating that online presence as well as the positioning and that authority building becomes really important, I would say, in the last 2 to 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that I really caught from what you're explaining on, some of the things you did in the beginning was you thought in terms of the consumer, right? You were thinking, if I were a client or a potential client, how can I, actually consume marketing that I would enjoy, right? So a lot of agents probably don't think about it that way. They're thinking, what can I do? I'm just going to pound the flyers and send them out. But you were actually thinking on the opposite side. You're thinking, okay, so what would a client want, right? What would a client want to keep? And those are actually some really creative ways to, get in front of clients, right? Some of the ways that you shared as well. So, one of the things you also mentioned was, agents today being, almost on social media 24/7. And this is, I think, across the board, right? We're seeing this not just in Singapore, but in the US for sure, different countries all around the world. So, obviously that's how we were able to get connected was, I was able to actually find your content online. So talk us through a little bit about what that looked like for you when you first started doing content. Did you start doing content in real estate a couple years into your business, or is this something that you started fairly recently? And how are you positioning the content that you're providing so that way it's actually capturing, again, the attention of the client and not just, one other video out there that's part of the thousands.
Yeah, so actually, social media content creation, I feel that today in today's world, right, I think not just in real estate, like you rightfully mentioned, everyone is doing content creation, and it's not easy to get started, right? So I really encourage everyone to. It's not so difficult nowadays with AI and everything, right? Uh, with AI's evolvement, I feel that more people they are more willing to do it, right? Because there are many real estate realtors. I feel they are not very comfortable to speak on camera, but I think more so now. The adoption rate is a lot higher because if you're not doing content creation, you are like it's not it's the norm is to do it now, right? Not like last time. It's like the other way around, right?
Right.
So yeah, coming back to your question, um, I think there's really different types of content creation that real estate agents can possibly do, right? If you are starting to do content creation, you could always begin with um, short reels that don't require too much of um, content, right? It could really be short phrases, and you could really kind of use it to kickstart your content creation journey, right? I think what I always do, and I'm quite sure Kobe you do as well, is to really follow people online that does it very well, right? And get some inspiration and some ideas from there, right? So really want to encourage those doing sales, no matter whether you have more budget or you don't have budget, social media content creation can be done, right? So it can be self-made. It can also be paying somebody, a vendor, to actually do it for you. It's really not that difficult after you do it a few times. And of course, sometimes nowadays we're trying to learn about how AI can actually help us do it even without us talking, right? Home tours. Recently, I did a home tour that I felt really happy about it because um, I completed a home tour in 30 minutes. In the past, I have to think about the script. I have to um, do a lot of talking. So now I just walk around and I just swipe my hand around, and then the AI just does like every single thing, right? So actually, for those of you who don't really like to talk too much and you're not comfortable, basically, with the involvement of AI, is really cool because you don't need so much preparation now, right? The usage of AI content creation, can use the AI technology to like showcase decluttering, and then like with a full renovation, and then with a swipe of your hand, and everything just like 3D comes out and in a very very beautiful house, uh in seconds, right? um So that really helps. I feel that that really lower the barrier for people to enter content creation, and I think that is really good. And if you are not already doing some form of content creation, really encourage everyone to get started. Back to my own journey of starting this whole entire social media content creation, right? I think as an educator, I remember that speaking in front of a camera or maybe in front of a crowd is not too difficult for me because we speak to, you know, auditorium of people or we speak to classrooms. But it's really a little bit different because we don't need to really always keep smiling, right? So this was something that I had to change, right, and consciously put a smile on the face during the content creation, and nowadays I think social media also require us to wear different hats. Sometimes we need to be funny, sometimes we need to be stern, sometimes we need to be professional. Uh, so it's a really interesting journey. Um, Also encourage everyone to probably surround yourself with people who are doing it a lot.
Yeah.
When you are in an environment that everyone is doing, right, it is more encouraging, right? But if you are the only one that's doing, then you might find the resistance level very high. But if you are in a team whereby everyone is creating social media content almost every day, you see your friend rolling out content and stuff like that, I think you will be more motivated to do it, right? So from shorts, is definitely something that I will encourage everybody to get started because sometimes shorts are maybe only 10 to 15 seconds. Sometimes it doesn't even require you to say anything too much that's too difficult, right? And of course, from shorts, I also do a little bit of long forms, right? Sometimes like what we're doing now, when we talk about a certain project and do some sort of reviews about what we feel about the market or the project itself, whether we feel that it is a good project to buy, those are the long forms that we talk about, and then we do a little bit of podcast, and really this whole entire process has become a lot easier because I think the acceptance level of different forms of social media content creation have changed quite a bit. I think in the past, all the social media content creation requires a lot of editing, right? So now people are a little bit more authentic. They kind of don't do too much of an editing, right? Else they really be using um, AI. Right nowadays, there are so many tools that people could potentially use for AI video generation, right? As well as I would say avatar, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so even myself, I'm thinking of how I could use the some of this avatar to do training, right? So that we could roll out training, not just content creation. So this is something that I feel that we, as real estate agents, and more so if you are a real estate leader, that you should be learning about what's available in the market to help us run our business more effectively and reach out to more consumers.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm glad you mentioned that you guys are actively utilizing AI as well in your content creation and you're exploring different ways to utilize it for, not just your home tours and your videos, but also, how do you turn it into, instruction, right? For agents coming into your team as well, because it's a huge time saver with all the updates that you have to do, all the videos that you have to film. And I think it's a good transition because one of the other things I really wanted to get your take on was starting your team, right? So a lot of agents, they want to be in a position like you are now where they want to transition from just selling, real estate themselves to then becoming a team leader and growing and helping other agents get started and really scaling up their influence. So, walk us through when did you want or when did you actually start thinking about and start your team of agents? And how have you been able to grow your team to over 100 agents so successfully today?
I think for real estate team building itself, it was a little bit of natural progression for me because for me it was a mid-career switch. And in my education time, right, I lead teachers. Like I have a department of teachers, and I lead teachers and I train teachers. So it was a little bit of natural progression for me. But of course, if you talk about real estate team building, definitely it is a career track as well, if you ask me, right? We do earn a little bit of passive income, not that much, right? It is something that for real estate agent, that if you feel that the career track of pure sales, right, is not sufficient, you could also consider a second track, which is actually team building. And of course, everyone start from zero, right? I still remember that first few associates that you get, right? You recruited, right? How much effort that we need to really put into trying to groom them, and trainings, resources. So definitely not an easy journey. In Singapore, everything is competitive. I'm quite sure US is as well. Um, Again, the recruitment journey is a little bit like prospecting. Nowadays, I prospect online too, right? Because of my video, social media content creation, recruitment happens online, right? In the past, when I started, I had to do like road shows, right? We go outside the exam center and we talk to people who went for the exam, right? And it's really interesting because it is exactly the same format of how we prospect clients. So instead of prospecting clients, I'm prospecting like recruits, right? Uh, and we go outside and we give out flyers, and this is the same thing. But I don't give out flyers; I give out my tissue paper, and try to get their contact number, and have coffee with them and set an appointment with them to talk about how we could do real estate together, or how they could kickstart their career. So it's really interesting. It's things that we do. Like a lot of people, they feel that it's completely different things that we're doing for sales and with team building, but they have a lot of similarities actually, right? From trying to get that prospect, right? So it's just not a prospect for sales, but it's just a prospect as a recruit, right? So we actually do the same thing, like we do road shows, right? And of course, when COVID came, right, then I started to run a little bit more online ads, right, to talk about how potential aspiring real estate people could explore a career joining my team, and I managed to also recruit people online through these ads. And of course, now it's evolved a little bit even more, right? Whereby we create social media content to talk about what is um, critical, to succeed in real estate. And then, of course, we run ads, or it could be an organic ad that uh, people chance upon your content, and then they kind of DM you, and then they explore with you, and they come to your networking event, and then how to kickstart things. So we, to be honest, I still go to the exam center, right? But now, right, we do a lot more online as well. So that's really how I got started. And of course, as a brand new real estate leader last time, 7, 8 years back, right? It's a lot different, right? Because most of my associates were brand new from the exam, right? With like no experience, and that actually prompted me to create a lot of plug and play resources that were suitable and critical for new real estate agents, right? So because the DNA at that time were all brand new, right? So we required resources, we required decks or trainings that suit new real estate agent. But of course, with time and as I grew in real estate, then the team attracted more leaders, they attracted more team managers with different expertise, and the team started to grow in numbers. I have more expertise of different leaders coming in, and we started to attract a little bit more experienced real estate agents, and of course with that, currently now my 100 plus of real estate associates, they are basically quite diverse profile, which I really really appreciate because at the start, if everybody is brand new, right, or everybody belongs to like a certain age group, it's actually quite, it actually makes learning a little bit more restricted. So I actually like the fact that the team has got a very diverse profile. I mean, I have real estate agents in the early 20s all the way to 60 plus, right? And I feel that everyone brings a different piece of expertise, different backgrounds, and different life experiences, and really that helps to actually create more ideas on the table when we bounce off, ideas on our cases. So yeah, so the team is diverse portfolio. We have you know even ex-professional professions, like you rightfully mentioned, we do have a lot of teachers, educators, or government sector switching careers into real estate to become, uh, you know, gaining that the flexibility in the work arrangements, and definitely for better financial rewards, and everybody come into the career with a different objective, right? I always share that real estate is a really interesting career because it really doesn't have um, a limit. We always say the sky's the limit, right? You are how much you want to be, right? Doesn't have a ladder to climb, right? A number of years to hit, or a certain kind of education qualification before you can do well, right? Or it doesn't mean that there's like a hierarchy to climb and stuff like that. Like even for myself, right? I have a master's in sports science. Um, of course, I wouldn't say it's useless now, right? But it's really more of it is really doesn't reflect on the possibility or the probability of you being successful in real estate. So therefore, aspiring real estate people want to come into the career. This is a very interesting career with I would say good rewards. But of course, I have to also say that it comes with risk as well because it's an entrepreneur role. You're pretty much running your own business, right? And you really, really need to think about how to run your business as the boss, right, of the business. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really well said because, for an agent, they are their own entrepreneurs, right? They have their
Yeah.
own business. They can belong to a team, they can belong to another agency, but it's still you are 100% responsible for your income. So I think it's really cool that you were able to build up your team, and you're able to do it so successfully and still be able to train them. So, one of the things that I really caught from, as you were building your team was the fact that when you were bringing in a lot of new agents, you didn't just recruit them. It wasn't just, hey, come join, my team, and then that's it. You just leave them, to be. You actually were able to take the time to build out the resources for them to be successful so they can plug and play. And for somebody who's starting their own business, it's almost like, buying into a franchise, right? Versus trying to start and doing everything on your own. They have a playbook, they can follow it. Now it's going to be up to you to follow it, but at least there's something, there's a plan for you there, right, to be able to follow and to implement as well. So, Ryan, I just wanted to, kind of wrap up today's episode by, having you share a little bit more about, real estate in Singapore in general. There's a lot of, buzz around the world now of, people looking to buy and invest in real estate all across different countries and different regions. So, talk to us about, what are some of the things if you were looking into possibly wanting to invest or buy real estate in Singapore, what are some of the things that a foreign investor should look out for, and what are some of the things that they should know before they, start doing some deeper research and pulling the trigger?
Definitely, I think Singapore is a very very good choice for foreigners to actually consider, right? Um, of course, I think Singapore's real estate is probably one of the priciest in the whole entire world, right? Uh, we used to have a lot of foreign buyers in the Singapore real estate scene. But a couple of years back, there was an introduction of like what we call the additional buyer stamp duty, and that's like additional like 60%, right, of the purchase price of the property, and that kind of slow the foreign buyers coming to the Singapore market, right? Um, but of course, the good news is there are countries, right? There are countries um, that are so-called like because of the agreement and the relationship, like like something like a free trade agreement, and of course, the number one foreign ownership or purchase in the last couple of years since the introduction of the this new policy is the United States, right? So because U.S. citizens now, they have always, right, been having the same benefits as a local Singaporean. So they don't pay that additional buyer stamp duty of 60%. Right. So, of course, in the last couple of years, US citizens came out top in the foreign, right, buyers in terms of, after the introduction of the 60%. So in the past, it used to be China, right? It used to be China. So of course, with that, I think it was a really great deterrent for too many of the Chinese buyers to come into the Singapore market, right? The reason why a lot of foreign buyers were looking into the Singapore market, and I believe they're coming back into the Singapore market because number one, we have very stable government, right? Um, in Singapore, the stability of the government, it is really critical in my honest opinion that how come through COVID, how come through uh, major crisis, financial meltdown, war, you never see our price index coming down, right? It's really amazing, because Singapore is so small, right? Sometimes when I travel and I talk to people, do you know where Singapore is? It's like we call ourselves like a little red dot. Like it's really such a small country, right? It's a small city. The city is a country. The country is a city, right? Right. Um, but of course, I think Singapore has done very well in globally, right? In terms of financial standings as well as, of course, I mentioned to you the stability of the government, and of course, it is a financial hub, right? In Singapore, there's a lot of big companies that actually base themselves in Singapore for their work, right? We have a lot of expats working in Singapore as well because our population is not that great. So we do have a lot of expats and foreign workers, right? Um, and we really tap on like a lot of incoming talent from overseas as well. So in terms of rental income, so that it is pretty much quite robust, and the vacancy rates are pretty low, right? And of course, if you ask me, there's also no capital appreciation tax, right? So we don't have that as well, right? And traditionally, the capital appreciation of the properties in Singapore is always going up, right? But of course, with the introduction of the additional buyer stamp duty being so high, um, it of course slow down the foreign ownership. And so if you think about it, even without these foreign buyers, the 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 absorption rate of the Singapore properties is so high. I would say like for every launches, it's almost like 80-90%, right? Or even 100%, right? And this demand is driven by locals and Singapore permanent residents. So imagine if we don't have this policy in place and we still have like very high percentage of like foreign buyers. I really cannot imagine what the prices would be, right? Yeah. So of course, while we're talking to you, of course, Kobe, you are in US, right? And I feel that maybe a lot of the US people, the US friends, they are not maybe too familiar with the country and the properties, right, in Singapore. But of course, this is definitely a good opportunity. So, viewers who are probably watching us chatting away, right, could really find out a little bit more. And of course, reach out to Kobe or myself to find out a little bit more why this interesting little red dot in the world is has one of the priciest real estate like in the world, right? So I traveled to US in earlier part of the year and I stayed in many different holiday homes that in the US. Wow, really nice, spacious houses and property that US really have, and it's just like at a fraction of the price, right? That what we pay, right? Um, we really live in, I wouldn't say shoebox, right? But I think well I don't I feel that it's not as maybe extreme like in Hong Kong, right? Not that kind, right? Of shoeboxes, but really the space is getting smaller, right? Because of the increasing land costs that we have in Singapore. And land is so scarce, right, in Singapore, and I guess that is one of the huge factors also why um, the real estate prices has been going up, right? And we actually see the land costs have increased tremendously in the last 2 quarters in Singapore. So I believe in 2027 it will reach another new benchmark. And the developers who are bidding for the land seems to be really, really confident about the Singapore prices still continue to be like really really bullish in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting because, you're absolutely correct. There's not a lot of people in the US who are as familiar with what it looks like to invest in Singapore. I know Singapore has a really good reputation amongst, people in the US as well, but when it comes to buying real estate, they're probably just thinking it's just way out of my price range. But it's really interesting, and you're absolutely correct in that it's a very stable country, it's a very stable government. And I think it's very important for a lot of people right now. So if there are any agents out there, any potential investors, clients, anybody who's interested, definitely make sure to reach out to Rayne. And Rayne, I just want to say thank you again for being on the show today. I feel like you were able to share a lot of value with us, both for real estate agents, people who are aspiring team leaders, and also anybody who's interested in Singapore real estate as well. So for anybody who's watching or listening to this that do want to reach out directly to you, that want to connect with you, what are some of the best ways for people to get in touch with you so that way they can, reach out directly to you and stay connected?
Yeah, thank you, Kobe, for that. Right. Definitely DM me, right, on my IG and my any of my socials, or you could potentially reach out to Kobe as well, right? And we could help link each other up, right? Or even maybe those local friends or local Singaporeans who are watching who are interested in the US properties can reach out to Kobe as well, right? Or DM me and I can actually link you up with Kobe.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rain. I'll make sure to put your contact information in the description and show notes down below. Other than that, I just want to say thanks again for being on the show. Before we wrap up today, is there any last pieces of advice, any just last tips, nuggets that you just want to leave with us before we wrap up the episode?
Definitely. I mean, of course, the sharing is really about how fellow real estate colleagues could actually really do well in both sales and team building. I think it really boils down to a few key things that we really need to have. The first thing I would like to share is really we need to have clarity in what we are really doing, right? And I think talent, as important talent is, I think consistency and diligence is as important, right? Um, talent, solely talents cannot win games, right? You really need to put in hard work, right? To really look at how you could run your business, right? So I would say having clarity and consistent good work is key to being a successful real estate person. No matter which country you are in, I feel that this is something that is key to gaining success in both sales and team building, like clarity of what you want for your sales, your own personal sales, and clarity how you would like to bring your team forward, right? And really the consistency of taking action, right? I think this is one of the key weakness for quite a lot of real estate people. Like we do not do things consistently enough, right? And that's why we have inconsistent results, right? So if you are able to have a simple system or framework to help you stay consistent in the work in the game, right? Definitely, I think results will come naturally.
Absolutely. That's some great advice, Rain. Thanks so much for being on the show. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on the next show. Take care.